Yeah, no, but it's okay.
Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you bowl for Franklin?
Yes, sir.
Have a bowl with me.
Yes, sir. What do you mean, wow?
Alright guys, hey, we got some announcements gotta get to.
Most high schools do have them.
Well, I guess you'll have to rest that one.
Centennial does.
Yes, that's on most.
Where do you practice?
Most of Williams Encounter.
Alright, come on. Alright, hey, we're gonna go throw some announcements, guys. We got some big ones coming out. Hey, fall retreat. I sent y'all a reminder tonight. I've been gracious. I pushed back the deadline. No more. Tonight is it. All right. Most of all, everyone in here is going. Most of all, y'all got your stuff in. If you still want to go, gotta have it tonight. Okay. We got a really good group going. Hey, y'all, listen up. We got a good group going. It's gonna be a blast. I'll be sending out a packing list to all of you guys and all of your parents' emails that are on your forms. Probably next week. Hey, listen. Pay attention to that packing list because we're going to do some stuff at retreat where you will need specific items, specific clothing, okay? So pay attention to that packing list and make sure you have everything that's on there, okay? Does everybody follow me? Yep. Yeah. We good. All right, cool. All right. Hey, 30 for 30s at the Hiders. Where's all Adam at tonight?
Not
All
here.
right. He's where?
Not here.
Oh, no.
All right.
Hey, y'all know the deal for 30 for 30s. Me here at 5:15. We're back by 8:15. You don't need any money. I don't know if we're going to do indoor-outdoor game yet. I got to talk to his parents. I've never been to this house. Don't know what the deal's like there. But hey, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're still in Acts, y'all. We're still rolling with Acts. So keep reading through Acts, and we'll do that. Hey, if you haven't already, download the YouVersion app. What we're going to try to do through our small groups is read through different plans in our series, okay? Right now, if you want to be involved in your small group, all you do is go to YouVersion, you go to the Bible studies, and then you type in the series we're doing. The series we're in right now is called Now and Later. Hey, said it, y'all can hear. We're doing a series called Now and Later, and we'll talk more about that in a second. We're just in week 2, so hey, you're not that far behind if you want to catch up with your reading plan. So jump on that. That's a good way for you to kind of stay on track in your personal reading. There's also some devos go with it I think are pretty thoughtful and cool. All right. Hey, any questions about anything going on? One thing that's not on here is we're going to have where we make the dressing for the turkey fry. It's going to be Wednesday the 27th, okay? So we won't have encounter that night. We won't have Wednesday class. We'll meet at the MPB at 7 o'clock, also known as Family Life Center, and we'll make the dressing then. Dinner will be provided, all right? So you won't need any money. If your parents would like to donate some items, there's a sign-up sheet for that in the newsletter. All right, hey guys, we're gonna go ahead and jump into our worship next. If you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna just say a prayer for us. If you would go ahead and put your cell phones up, and let's try to focus in on what we're gonna be doing here in the next 30 minutes or so. Okay. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time together tonight, where we can come and just, Lord, we thank you for the awesome meal we had. We thank you for the blessing that is for us to come and have a meal together, and we thank you for those people that have blessed us in that way. And God, we thank you for each student here. God, we know that it's not always easy in the middle of the week to come and to leave schoolwork and leave activities and to be a part of Encounter. God, we thank you for our students and their mindset that they come here and want to be a part of this. And we just pray this moment that we can leave what's going on behind us and that we can focus in on you and focus in on what we're talking about tonight in this series. And God, as we worship, I pray that we are brought closer to you through the community of us singing together and worshiping you and lifting your praises up high. God, we thank you so much for being the God that you are, for loving us the way that you do, for giving us the way that you have and continue to do. God, we want to worship you tonight and focus in on you for the God that you are for us. In your Son's name we pray this. Amen.
You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord.
right, we're in week 2 of our new series, Now and Later. And what we're talking about in this series is talking about how things that happen to us right now can affect our life. The things that we're going through, the decisions we make, our interests, the things we spend our time on, things we spend our thoughts on, all of that has an impact, not just on us right now, but has an impact on us in our later, in our future, right? Now, I know we don't really focus on our future. Do I have epilepsy? Because the screen might just give them an attack right now. Sorry about that. But we understand the things we do right now impact on our later. Just give me a little unplug and a replug. See what happens. All right, stay with me here. I got a few questions I want to start with about a celebrity most of you should know. All right, let's start with this one. Who in here likes Taylor Swift? Raise your hand if you like Taylor Swift. All right. Either. If you just like Taylor Swift, I think good things. All right, there we go. All right. Now, who in here just doesn't like Taylor Swift? I'm raising my hand. Nah, dude, I don't like her. Hey, quick side story. When I was in high school, I had a friend who was obsessed with Taylor Swift, and we worked together during the summers, and we're having one of those days where we're just fighting back and forth. And I told him straight to his face, I was like, Taylor Swift is one of the ugliest people I've ever seen, which is a really mean thing. But I didn't mean that, but he punched me in the face. I got punched in the face over Taylor Swift.
She is now.
No, Taylor Swift, she's a good godly woman. All right, now, anyways, all right. Here's what we're going to talk about. Now, keep going. All right, now, are there people in here that used to like Taylor Swift that don't like her anymore? Okay, we got some of those. Yeah. All right. And there may be reasons why. Maybe it's music, or maybe she's changed. Maybe she has a different reputation than she had before. Maybe she's just going after a different crowd, or, she had her like Miley Cyrus moment where you went from Hannah Montana to Miley Cyrus. Like everyone goes for those moments, right? All right, but we all have that. Now, this one's a little different question. Who thinks they'll like Taylor Swift in 5 to 10 years from now? I don't know. All right, he's dedicated. He's going to like her no matter what. He loves Taylor Swift. All right. The reason I'm talking about Taylor Swift is because I'm going to read some lyrics from one of her songs. Back in 2017, she had a song called Endgame, okay? It was a song she did with a guy you may know of named Future, all right? Yeah. Let me read a little bit of these. I promise you this is going to tie in. Some of you are like, Taylor Swift, Future, where are we going? All right, we're not going to play it. I'm not going to rap it either, but I'm going to read it. We should have had Allison Johnson read these like it's from camp. But here we go. So here's the chorus. Here's lyrics from the Endgame chorus. Big reputation. It's on the screen too. Big reputation. You and me will be a big conversation. Oh, and I heard about you. You like the bad ones too. All right. Raise your hand if you remember this line from this song. It was a big song. Yes, I even remember this. I don't listen to a lot of radio. Okay, y'all remember this. Anyways. All right, it's Endgame, and what she's saying in this is talking about her in Future. Hey, me and you, we both have big reputations, right? And if we were to be a thing, that would be a big conversation, okay? And she's talking about herself here. I don't know. I heard about you. You like the bad ones too. We're gonna get into some of that. We're gonna get into some of that in a second. But let's start with this word, reputation. What does the word reputation means? Who can give me a little definition? Anybody? Quick definition. Eric, what do you got?
Like the basis of let's say you have a streak of just doing good things, that's kind of a reputation.
Okay, all right, we were getting there. It's what you're known for. All right, that's basically what you said. But yeah, it's what we're known for. Reputation is what we're known for, and that's what she's talking about in the song about reputation, what you're known for. And what's crazy is her full album that this song was from was called Reputation. Ooh, Taylor Swift fan in the house. All right, so there was something from this album that she was trying to get to. And in my opinion, I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan, but I think she was trying to show I want a different reputation than I've had. I think she kind of had a reputation before, and she wanted something different. And we've seen this in school. We've seen people try to change their reputation. We've seen people go after a certain reputation. And the thing that's getting, and she referenced at the end. I know you like the bad ones too. Like she's seeking a what type of reputation? A bad reputation. And we see this in school, but why is that? Why do we seek bad reputations? What is that? Because for some reason, why would she celebrate the fact that she has a bad rap? She wants a bad rap, and it's just like Colby just said, people who are more popular because of their bad reputation. It's almost like bad reputation equals being cooler or more popular or more fun to be around or you get talked about. And a lot of us see that in our schools, especially if you're in high school. You see people with bad reputations, somehow that elevates their popularity. And it works in the flip side too, right? People that have good reputations doesn't really go so well. They get name called. They're like, what's some of the names we hear? Now, do people really say that? Because I don't feel like they even said that back in my day. Goody two shoes. We still say that in high school. People still say that. That's crazy. All right, teacher's pet. Teacher's pet. Hey, you know the one I got my freshman year that I hated? Church boy. Anybody get church boy? Oh man, I should have loved it, but I didn't. I hated it and I rebelled against the reputation. But listen. We all recognize that good reputation equals less school. All right, are we all in agreement? We see this in our schools, right? We see this when we're with our friends. We see that good reputations equals less school for some reason. And on top of all that, what's so hard about reputations is it's so difficult to control what other people think about you. It's difficult to control our own reputations, right? It's difficult to control whether that's good or bad or what they're saying about us. It's good. It's hard to control sometimes what people say about us because it's sometimes associated with what we do, what we're trying to do, who we hang out with, all these different activities that we're involved with. All of that somehow formulates our reputation and we're just, boom, labeled there. And what's so hard about that is sometimes we get a reputation we don't like and maybe it's from a mistake in the past that we're not proud of. Maybe there's something you did and people at school heard about it. And here's the sad truth is sometimes it's not even something that's true. Sometimes rumor gets started about someone in school and all of a sudden they're labeled as this person. That's their reputation and it's not even something that's true about them. In fact, you probably know people that you've heard their reputation before and then you've actually met that person. You're like, man, they're nothing like the reputation I've heard. Because there's false reputations of people. And sometimes we can't control it because people make up lies, people make up gossip, and there's things that get told about us that aren't even true. I'm going to share a really hurtful example of some of that later that I experienced in one of my youth group members in the past. And these things can be super hurtful. Now, here's where some of you are at. Some of you are like, man, reputation, I don't even care that we're talking about this because I don't care about my reputation. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but some of you can relate to that. You're like, man, I really don't care what my reputation is. I haven't thought about it. I'm not trying to seek a different one. I don't care if people think about me. And here's what we're going to learn tonight is your reputation is important. So wherever you're in on this at, whether you're the party of I don't care what my reputation is, or maybe you're the party of, man, I got a bad reputation and I like it that way, or maybe you're stuck in this mood where you have a reputation that you don't want and you wish it was different. Now, we can find ourselves in any of those parties, but the fact is what I want to see tonight is that our reputation is important. Our reputation matters. And it not only matters right now, but it matters to who you're going to be. It matters to what you're going to do in life. And it matters in your future, your now, and your later. And so, throughout this series, Now and Later, we've been going to the same book, a book that's known for its wisdom, the book of Proverbs, written by Solomon, one of the wisest men, if not the wisest, ever lived. And so we get to kind of just learn from his wisdom, the book of Proverbs. We've been going through this, and we're going to look at Proverbs 22, verse 1 tonight. So read this here with me. It'll be on the screen. It says this, a good name is more desirable than great riches, and to be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Now let's break down some of this phrase, because some of us, we don't always understand Bible language, so let's get through this. A good name is the same thing as a good reputation, okay? So it says a good reputation is more desirable than great riches. And then he says the same, to be esteemed is like to be respected, all right? To be respected is better than silver and gold, which was also used as currency back then. So he's basically kind of, put this in our own words, a good reputation is better than being rich. Now some of you hear this, you're like, Preston, I don't know. You know what money can buy? What's that guy saying? Yeah, it's great, but money can buy me a boat. Money can buy me this. You haven't heard that country song, right? Yeah. Hey knows that song. All right. We hear all this, Preston, but money's nice. Now, some of you, especially if you're in that party of, man, I don't care about my reputation, you read this and you say, I don't know that to be true. I don't know that to be true. You know why? Because here's what I want you to see, and this is what I've seen, is reputation doesn't really matter to us until we wish we had a better one. You should think about that. Reputation doesn't matter to us until we wish we had a better one. And I hope you're not in that situation now because it's a terrible one to be in. But I want to tell you a quick little story about a girl that's in my youth group. I'm not going to use her name. She's already graduated and she's out doing her thing. She's doing great. But she went through a scenario. She when she went to high school, she was a freshman in high school. And she was much of that party of, I don't care if people think of me. I'm my own person. Reputation doesn't matter. But then there was a kid in her grade who started telling some gossip about her that wasn't true. And then gossip started going through the schools. But you know what she thought? She thought a lot like you thought is, hey, bad reputation, it's almost like bad news is good news, right? Bad news means you're more popular. So all of a sudden, she started getting more attention. She started getting more popular. Her name was out there. People were talking about her inner schools, even as a freshman. And to have seniors come up to her and say, hey, I heard this about you, even though it wasn't something that maybe she wanted to be out there, all of a sudden she felt more popular. And that kind of wore off pretty quickly, though. So after a while, after being more popular, this gets out, and all of a sudden it starts hurting some of her friendships. People say, hey, I know you in this way. They're saying this about you, and I don't know that about you. All of a sudden, some of those friendships started breaking up. Some girls in the youth group figured out. They pulled her out and questioned about it, and probably were a little judgmental, and probably weren't the best youth group members at that time, and said some things that were hurtful. So all of a sudden, her friendships started breaking off, her youth group friendships started breaking off, and then some of the guys that she was interested in the past weren't interested anymore because of this reputation that she now had. They started getting worse and worse in school, so much so that she dropped out of school and started going to homeschool, started doing online school. And the problem is it didn't stop there. Just being away from school didn't stop her issues. Because now we have these things called social media where people can attack you anywhere, anytime, right? Social media can be you be great, but it also can be terrible, can it? And so she started getting some of these attacks at home, and all of a sudden she started experiencing, because of this, it comes to other things in her life, started experiencing depression. And started seeking out ways to get away from this depression in really painful ways, okay? And I don't want to get into too big in her history, but there were some huge hurts in her life where she fell into a really dark spot for a long time. And it took for her a long time to work on that. And eventually she did build back her character. Eventually she did build all these things back, and she went back to school and has a great reputation now as a strong Christian woman. But here's the fact that she would agree with so much. Is reputation doesn't really matter to us until we wish we had a better one. And for some of us that right now are in this boat of I don't care what my reputation is, I want you to listen to that truth. Because where you're at right now, you can really determine your reputation. And it's so much easier to start a good one than to fix a bad one. It's so much easier to be in the moment and decide, hey, this is who I want to be, and I'm going to work towards this instead of having to repair something that's already been damaged. I'm not saying if you've made a mistake and you've earned a bad reputation that there's no coming back from that, because there absolutely is. You can work on reputation. You can work on preserving your future, deciding who you're going to be. But I'm telling you now, that's not a fun process to go through. And the Proverbs is telling us to save us from this. Hey, this is something that's better than riches. A good name is more desirable than even riches. So, a question to ask you tonight. Think about this. What would a bad reputation stop you from doing? Now, in this series, we're talking about present and the future. So think about this for a second. What can a good reputation or a bad reputation, what opportunities that keep you from pursuing? A bad reputation is like a locked gate to your future. In some cases, it will stop and prevent you from going through the gate. Why? Because sometimes opportunities open and close because of your actual abilities. A lot of times we don't think about that of who we are in middle school or high school has any dependence on what happens in our future. But it does, even with little things. I was hanging out with a group of guys this weekend, and one of the mutual friends was going to ride with me. And I didn't really know this guy, but he had a reputation. It wasn't a good one. And I remember the whole time thinking, man, I really don't want to hang out with this dude. I really don't want to give him a ride to this place we're going. And you know why? Because he had a reputation. And it's little stuff like that we don't think about that years later is going to make an impact on someone else. When you go to get a job and all of a sudden they know someone that knows you and say, man, I know him. He doesn't get a good reputation, though. Man, this stuff comes into play. We just don't think about the ways that it does. But if we do think about it now, we set ourselves up for a better future. Love it or hate it, our now is always connected to our later. Let me read that again for you guys. Love it or hate it, our now is always connected to our later. Your reputation now can open doors for you later. Who you are now, the way you treat your coaches, the way you treat your fellow students, the way you treat your friends, has a dependence on your reputation later. You say, man, I remember so-and-so. Great kid, great athlete, great teammate, great person, great student. Those things matter in your future, and they still matter in your now. Here's the bottom line I want you to have. A good reputation is good for you now, and it's good for you later. It's good for you in your present. It's good for who you're trying to become, even as a teenager. But it's good for who you want to be as an adult. It's good for who you want to be as a future husband. It's good for who you want to be as a future dad. Like all these things, wife, spouse, all these things. That is what your reputation is all about. So here's the question. What can we actually do about our reputation, right? Because a lot of times it just seems like something we can't control. But here's a few things. We can't control what we're going to be known for. Now, I'm not saying that's easy. I'm not saying we can always, it's just going to snap our fingers and we're known as the good kid that we want to be, right? It takes time, it takes work, it's not going to happen overnight, but taking control of your reputation is possible over time. If you strive to be something, you work towards it, people are going to see the change in you. People are going to see what you're striving towards. They're going to see that you are working towards a future and for something positive. They're going to see what you stick for. And how awesome would it be when people look at us and say, man, I love what he stood for. I love what his reputation was. But it's not just about the now. It's not just about who you want to be right now. It's also about the long term, right? We can also control our long-term perspective. A good reputation, a good name is more just about high school or middle school and the life after that. It's more about who you are in college. It's more about who you want to be as an adult. It's about your future. You know, a lot of times as teenagers, we don't really look at our future. We don't really take it seriously. But like I said, what you do now determines who you are later. And your opportunities later. The doors are open for you later. And if we really think about our reputation, we really treat it as something that's valuable, more valuable than riches, then that's something we're going to strive towards. And that's something that's going to pay dividends in your future. Good reputation is good for you now and good for you later. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to talk about with this. Because there's so much value in it. Now think, the wisest man in the world says this is more important than money. It's more important than being rich. The wisest person said that. What does that mean to us? Should that make a difference in what we're striving for each day? Should that make a difference if we care not what our reputation is and what other people think about us? Now, I get there's some freedom in saying, man, I don't care what anyone says about me. I don't care. But there's also a little bit of us that does care. And there's a little bit of us that should care. Because we represent something greater than ourselves, right? We represent something more. And I think that is powerful. And our reputation goes a long way in that. To be honest, there's times where the body of Christ doesn't have the best reputation. But we each could be representatives of Jesus. There's people that you see that you may be their best chance to see Jesus. You ever thought about that? There's people in your schools, on your sports teams, you may be their best shot at ever knowing Christ. And your reputation plays a part in that. And that's something that has a lot of value. I'm going to pray out, and we're going to go to our small groups to talk a little more about this. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time together tonight. Lord, I pray for our small groups as we talk about reputation, just the importance of it. God, we know that it is something that you value and you ask us to pursue. God, I just pray for all our students to see just the value in this, to grasp that. And God, as we discuss in our small groups, to be with our leaders as they impart wisdom with our teenagers. Let it be something that doesn't just last now, but also in their later. That the lessons learned tonight are of eternal value to them. God, thank you so much for your wisdom that you give us through the book of Proverbs. And we thank you for your Son who died on the cross for our sins. And then we pray. Amen. All right, guys, thank y'all for being